Doing great, bro.
I'm already, me and Bruce Wilson have gone around and around. Why are you resisting every other? Like, I'm already 3 times a week. I'm just a big believer in course corrections. Unless you're in maintenance. Now, everybody's an hour. A couple of like the lower end. One of them I didn't get. I mean, but it's not able to go like this week. It's like, guys, I got.
All right.
I got 2 virtual conferences in my life. And I gotta go to the film. And I got freaking master. I got 2 training sessions.
There we go.
I was like, dude, I gotta condense to 45 minutes. And then when I was on the RV trip, I just did everything. I would imagine it would give shit. Nope. I was like, look, I need this time. I want to experiment. I think it can, we should. I think time our coaching session like fluff. And they go, I was like, I want to do an experiment. This works out of the time, but we'll experiment half-hour sessions. And so I'm doing 2.5 days. West Coast time. That's right. Your first session is 2:30. But I didn't know about Arizona. Daylight, they don't do daylight savings. So, but yeah, they didn't care. Half hour was fine. Like, and they were like, "Are we going to stay?" They thought I was using that as a weekend. I was like, "No." I was like, "We may try for 45 minutes, but I mean, hours fine." Like my coach said, it was fast. Like Steve said, I think Steve's probably never heard me that way. It kills me. And that's probably what I did.
Seven out of Hilton Head Metropolitan International Airport. One ramp.
How come we didn't?
That's a little quarter.
How come we didn't?
Start.
I just sent her a text. She sent me back a question after. He was like, "What? For what? When? Where?"
Monty.
How come we didn't put Reggie on the video?
So mostly because I'm an asshole.
That's what makes you a good coach.
And so I'm gonna load all the videos for all the people that were streamed in. But I didn't want to stream.
Are you there, Monty?
Stuff because
Yes, I am.
Shoot.
Hey, Reggie.
Hey,
I plus
good
I know
buddy.
how to do it.
That's impressive. You knew my voice. That's awesome.
You know, like you're doing right now.
Yeah, but that takes me to ask.
That's skill right there. Good to see you, man.
I got a couple things I'm gonna run through, but if you even want to jump, it'll be 10 minutes. Okay, I'll be done. That's it. We'll be out here by 1 for sure. Handsome,
Who are you talking to?
you know who I'm talking to, baby. The stud
Oh,
muffin.
me.
The stud muffin in the Iowa State check.
You know, they
Came up short yesterday, though.
they warned us in this program that we may end up shaving our heads. So I think you're the final demonstration of that.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
See, that's what happened. I didn't hit my goals, so I had to shave my head.
You know, we're sticklers when it comes to those things.
Steve,
Absolutely.
Right.
what's thing gonna be
Downstairs at the market, where they've got the 4 or 5 tables outside.
outside?
Yeah, there's a couple of
Yeah, like if you look right over the balcony here, right in that little under whatever.
Yeah, my wife said she wanted to do it.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Is that a shopping mall? It's gonna take her a few minutes to get there.
just
Okay.
all much big.
Well, I'll hang out.
I'm gonna bring our dog.
Okay, great. All right, stud muffin. I'm gonna go round them up. We ran a little over in the first session.
So how much time do I have, and what do you want to do?
Well, the what we want to do part, let's make that up. About 12,
Okay, I got it.
wrap at 12:20, 12:25, and leave some time for Q&A.
Oh, yeah? Well, you watched them.
That long?
Well, that's including Q&A though. So you
Oh,
should go for
perfect.
you should go for about 7 minutes, and then just open it up. All right, brother. Let me go get everyone in here. By the way, it's 84 and sunny in Hilton Head. So what's the weather like in?
It's supposed to snow today.
Huh. Let me send you a screenshot of the weather down here.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
You sure? Am I making?
No, I
can send it over. Give me 1 minute, man.
Yeah, well. But I don't know. I don't think we can know. That means shouldn't be it. Been about now. That would be so yeah. But that wouldn't provide a care. You know, they were one of those companies that probably they got a PPP. Like yeah. So there's probably yeah. I mean, companies like that. If I had a meeting with her.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your seats. Sit down. Get in the room. Hey, Monty.
How are you, Craig?
Good. All right, everybody. Monte Wyatt from Iowa. He's a legend within Action Coach, been around a long time. And for those of you who don't know him, he's incredibly disciplined and really good at the numbers in the system. So without further ado, Monte Wyatt, it's all yours.
Hey, thanks, Craig. Wonderful. Well, and I'm enjoying the opportunity to spend a little time with you. I'm going to make us work in the next 45 minutes to an hour. And I want a lot of participation as well. First of all, with raise of hands, how many of you are achieving your goals this year? How many of you would like to blow out your goals in 2021? Hey, we got everybody raising their hands that time. Excellent. Well, today the topic that I'm going to have some great discussion on is productivity versus activity. And, you know, it's all easy to find things to do, but are we accomplishing what we need to be doing? And the process that we're going to follow for our time, I'm going to call it the art of reflection to take action. Art of reflection to take action. And Craig, appreciate that introduction. Just want to take a couple minutes and share a little of my journey. I'm into my 16th year with Action Coach. Prior to that, I spent 14 years in the agricultural chemical world. I went to Iowa State in ag business. And during my time in that ag chemical experience, I lived in 4 or 5 places around the country: North Dakota, South Dakota, Chicago, Sacramento, Kansas City, and then the 5th merger back into Iowa. But at that time, I was in sales, sales training, sales management, marketing management, really touched every aspect of that organization, and was traveling about 80% of my time every week. And 2004, decided that that was enough of the travel. So as David can attest, I think I signed the paperwork on a Monday, resigned on a Tuesday, the next day, and my last day with that company was Friday, all in the same week. So I was excited to go. I was excited to get focused. My first 2 years as a coach was not what I had expected or had planned. I did not achieve my goals. I wasn't gaining my clients because I did not follow the system. I thought because of my sales training, my sales management, my sales experience, that I could get clients. And it was a totally different sell. And so I can absolutely see on the date, almost to the date, that when I had started with my coach, that's when my business turned around. And so that was 14 years ago, and just a lot of great learnings growing through those 16 years. What I want to walk us through here today is a process that I use with my clients both annually and quarterly. And again, I called it the art of reflection to take action. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to do some work. I want you to write some things down on your pieces of paper, and then I'm going to have a few people share. And we're going to go deep into some of that conversation to reflect, and we're going to do it both on emotions and logic. And oftentimes we only go to one, but we need to reflect on both emotions and logic. So we're going to start on the emotional side. And when I do this process, I ask 2 questions. And the first one is around what successes have we had? So I want you to look at 2020. Let's just look at the whole year in general. What successes did you have? But that's not the important part. The important part is the second piece. Why do you consider them successes? What happened? What made them successes? So I want to give you about 2 minutes. I want you to write down on your piece of paper successes that you've had in 2020 and what made them happen. Why were they successes? So I want you to write some things down for a couple minutes. Successes in 2020 and what made them successes. What did you do? Why are you considering them a success based on your behavior, your actions? Give you about another 30 seconds. All right, start to wrap up. So I'd love for 4 or 5 people to share a success that you've had in 2020 and share why that was a success. What did you do to make it a success? And I may have some follow-up questions. So who's my first volunteer of the morning? All right, I can't see you, but go ahead, please.
Coming up. Hey, Monty. So,
Hi, Jim.
hello, how are you? Biggest
Good.
success I think I had was beginning of the year bringing an EBC on, Michael McKee, and that just was something that I'd been working on a long time, but I think I had better clarity of what I was looking for, and I think I read him well in his potential. And so that just finding the right person was able to get me to move forward to that area. And it really led to another EBC and some good growth.
So let's go deep into that. So I heard you say one thing, clarity of what you were looking for, but how did you get to that decision? What, you've been a coach for a long time. You've gone through a couple other EBCs and had some other connections. What was different here? What did you do that was different?
I think I got a clearer process because I was able to bring him into a business development role and just get to know him better and communicate what coaching looked like. That probably helped me to understand more what I was looking for as well. And again, just I guess, I don't know if they call it a hunch, but I think it's just an educated hunch as to that I thought that coaching would be a great role for him. So that gave me a lot of confidence in bringing him on at that level. And I heard salary base, which was I had to kind of swallow and agree to pay money out and establish myself that I had to cover that obviously through existing income.
All right, so here's what I heard you say. Just make sure, again, this is the deeper why this was a success. You had clarity of what you were looking for. You had a clearer process than maybe you had in the past. You were clear in your communication of what you were expecting of the position. And then the last one I heard is you made it salary and you were committed to this position because you made it salary.
Yeah.
Anything else to add of why that was a success?
No,
why you're considering that a success?
No, I think that's good. And I do think that the last part, just saying we're going to devote this salary and commit to that, my commitment went up, and so therefore the need for success was there, right? Needed to make it happen.
So I love that you added that. You committed and you made the investment and you viewed it that way. So Jim, thank you very much. Everybody give him a hand. All right, who's my next volunteer? Success and why?
What's up, Monty? How are you?
Doing well.
Sean Schwarmachers, Dallas, Texas. We've talked before, but don't have to remember.
Yep.
So anyway, one of the successes I had this year was good client retention. So even with the pandemic, I lost a few clients, but it was mostly like kind of the smaller, my group coaching clients, for example. Almost all my one-to-one clients stayed with me and paid the whole time. So, that was a good success.
So what did you do specifically to make that a success? What did you do to make them stay?
Yeah, so I feel like a reason I consider it a success for me is because I feel like I sort of analyze the situation as things were changing, analyze what I thought would be beneficial or would be necessary to keep them supported and engaged and adding value and things like that. And did those things, did various activity to try to make that happen. And then obviously it turned out the way I hoped it would. So
what did you do differently in your coaching to ensure that they stayed?
I had a little bit more communication. So more frequent communication. Obviously, as things change more frequently, you probably need a little bit more communication to, make sure that you're understanding and being able to provide them with assistance and whatever's happening. So I had a little bit more communication, not just we were talking specifically about the situations and coaching sessions, but I would email out and make sure that they understood, that certain resources were available or that I could help them or we could get in contact or whatever. So increased communication and, went through some of the different resources that we had and just went through it with the clients and made sure that, we were addressing any and all things that could have been a concern or was going to help them get through obviously a challenging period. So.
Very good. So here's what I heard you say. Just make sure I capture this right. So your success, and I love that you had this client retention, and the why, the what you did behind it was you analyzed each client situation to understand what they needed for support, how to engage more, what actions to take. You increased your communication, you shared more resources and opened the door with resources, and you ensured that you were addressing all concerns of their business. Did I capture that right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Everybody give him a hand. All right, two more. One, who's next?
Hi, Monty. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I'm Brianne Salcedo. I'm in Texas, 1 year in, and in this awesome I guess. So I'd say a success this year is making it to Gold Coach. That was a goal that I had, and I succeeded.
Excellent. And so tell us what you did to achieve that goal, and why is that a success for you? What did you specifically do?
Sure. So I would say that it became a success, or what I specifically did was I started just doing stuff. So I started doing activity. I actually committed to a marketing plan and began doing instead of planning. I have a problem with perfection. So instead of waiting for perfection, I just started doing and kind of rose up to that.
So before you committed to that plan and doing versus planning, what was, how did you behave, and then what was the switch to go from just planning to the doing? What was the switch?
Interesting. I would say it took probably COVID and a pandemic and the thought of that I had the tools and the framework to help others. I think it came from like maybe an altruistic drive, that I knew that I had the tools and the framework to serve and help people in the community not lose their livelihood. And so it really was just like, it kind of like punched me. And then it was within a moment of deciding, I think, just making a decision and a mindset shift of I have what it takes. I have the energy and the framework and the support in the community to do something about what was occurring in the community and world.
Brianne, I love that. Let me make sure I capture it right. So you said success was Gold Coach. Congratulations, by the way. And you achieved that because you were committed to a marketing plan. You did versus planning. You did the doing. You rose to the occasion, and you did that. COVID was one of those drivers. It was an altruistic response for you, a drive for you to serve. And the last part, I love that you said you made a decision that you have what it takes, you have the energy, and you have the support.
Yes.
Did I miss anything?
Sound way better coming from you. Yeah, that was great.
Very good. Very good. Give her a hand. Thank you, Brianne. All right, one last one.
Hello, Monty. Linda Fry from Iowa. Hi, how are you, Coach Monty?
Nice to meet you, Linda. It's glad to see you. I've not met you before.
He was my first year coach, by the way. So yeah, hey, I learned from the best, and here's what I would say. Clarify, simplify, and connect.
So what was your success first?
My success was I got clear on, I love to work with executives, clients, and their teams. And so one was a college and her leadership cabinet, and another one was a nonprofit and their team for 2-day engagement and 3 half-day workshops at $35,000 each. So that was, I love doing that work. And then the other part I would say is became a global trainer and a master coach because I got more grounded in materials and the tools. And then I positioned my clients for the net promoter score. In other words, on a scale of 1 to 10, and you taught me that to track it. You know, 1 through 10, 10 being absolutely. And I got all 9s and 10s with 2 8s. And I went back and asked for what would make it, you know, help me get better. And then I would say on the 4 different boards that I'm involved in, I wondered about that time commitment, yet out of that is becoming strategic partner referrals. So one of those clients that I was telling you about, I got a referral. And then I'm getting clear for 2021 in that I've hired a coach for my firm building, which is going to be leverage programs, which I didn't have yet going into my 3rd year here.
So I want to make sure I heard what you said, because you said a lot there. So the first part is you gained clients in that executive realm. So that was a success. You also got master coach. So I caught a couple things of what made it, and I want us to bring out a couple more. You clarified who you love working with. So that was one of the whys that it became a success. You clarified who you want as clients. And the second piece I heard is you went deeper into the tools. So you became a global trainer, a master coach, and the why behind that, or how you got there, is you went deeper into the tools. What else did you specifically do to get those executive clients, or to get more clarity? What did you specifically do?
Well, I was really focusing, did reflective work. So, you know, what is it I enjoy doing, and kind of my why, and recognizing that I could leverage myself differently and also grow a practice, and hired another coach. So I think that reflective work of getting real clear on identifying who it is I wanted to be and become. And my I am statements, I simplified, Monty. It's I am blessed, and I am blessed to be a blessing to all those whom I encounter this day. And that's right now where I'm at. And that gives me great clarity as well, to look for the openings, look for the opportunities.
Wonderful. So I want to reiterate a couple things you just said. So again, you listed off a number of successes, and they are all related. So gaining clients in a certain market, master coach, global trainer, adding on a coach. And again, here's what I heard. You clarified who you want to work with. You went deeper into the tools. You focused and you were reflective on your why. You were clear and reflected on your why of who do you want to become. Did I capture all that correctly?
Yes, like Brianne said, it sounds better when you summarize it.
Very good. Give Linda a hand. Thank you, Linda. So we just did 4 people here, and I know there's a lot of folks online and there's a lot of folks watching. I think this is the clarity that I want to challenge everybody first. So I want you to look at your own notes right now for a second. I want you to look at your notes, and I want you to circle the words that you need to, that created the successes. So like the ones that we just did is clarity. It was communication, it was doing versus planning, making a decision, deciding who I wanted to become, deeper into the tools. I want you to circle the behaviors that created those successes. That is the most important part of reflection of successes. It's not just that we had the success, is what made them happen, so we can do that behavior over and over again. So again, the behaviors were committed, invest, more communication, do versus plan, make decisions, follow my why. You get clear on what creates those successes, you will create future successes. So anyone else want to share a success and the behavior that created that success? Anybody else want to share? Excellent. So let's move to the second piece of the emotional reflection. It's what did we learn so we don't experience it again? So we all should have learnings. Notice my wording here. It's not that did we fail at, what did we do terrible at? It's what did we learn so we don't want to experience the bad part again. So again, I want to give you about 2 minutes. I want you to write down a couple learnings that you've had in 2020 that you don't want to experience again. Again, this is about your behavior, your practice, your results. So I'll give you a couple minutes. Learnings that you had this year that you don't want to experience again. Give you 30 more seconds. All right, start to wrap up. And would like again 4 volunteers. So who's my first volunteer for learnings, please?
Morning, Monty.
Hey, Bill.
How are you?
Doing excellent.
Yeah, so not having a goal for any marketing campaign. You know, just deciding, hey, I need more leads. Let's just do some telemarketing or something like that.
So had you had a goal in the past when you did a marketing campaign, and this year it just, you didn't set the goal, you just did it? Or tell us more.
I think we've done all of it, like had solid goals for some and just decided we needed some action on others. And yeah, I sort of the learning is to, I mean, my tendency is just to, you know, ready, fire, you know, skip the aim. And so, yeah, so, I mean, I sort of like, okay, Bill, you got to check yourself here, you know, before you do anything, let's get a goal for it. Let's get a solid, clear goal in place before we start to invest money.
I love that. And, you know, I think we all get into that. It's we want to do actions, we want to get moving, but we don't set a goal. And I want everybody to hear this and write this down, is define what success looks like. No matter what it is, whether it's a marketing campaign, what I'm hearing is you're learning is you need a clear goal. Well, define what success looks like. If we spend $3,000, what does success look like? If I spend $10,000, what does success look like? So it's getting clear on your learning is have a clear goal on marketing campaigns, on activities that you're doing.
Yeah, that's
love it.
Yep.
I love it. Everybody give him a hand. Thank you, Bill. Who's next?
Hey, good morning. Sonia Howard, Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, Sonia. How are you?
Hey, great. I was getting overwhelmed. And I made sure I decided early on, even though I have my one client, I decided early on that I'm going to have Fridays is a day of learning. Mondays is a day where I talk with my ML and my coach. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are days that I do coaching. Prior to coming to Action Coach, I go on vacation every 3 to 4 months. And I already knew right away that if I don't get to go somewhere every 3 to 4 months, that it's going to make me sad. So I'm setting it up before I get the clients so that I already have the structure in place, not to get overwhelmed.
So your learning was, you learned about yourself that you have to have a clear getaway. You have to be able to manage that brain brain energy. So you set time to learn, you set time to be coached, you set time to take a break. So is I hear that correct, that your learning was that you have to set time to step away?
Yes.
Love it. Love that learning. Thank you for sharing, Sonia. Give her a hand. All right, who's next?
Hey, Monty.
Russ, I'm gonna have to get a dog because I love your dog too. So I think it's cool. So I'm gonna have to get a dog.
Everybody should have a golden doodle.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of a lesson that's been building over a couple of years. Between 2015 and last fall, I had 3 increasing severity health crises, unrelated, but all of my marketing was built around personal exertion, networking, people that I contacted directly, that kind of thing. And every time the health issue came up, that stopped that. Last fall, it cost me a couple of major clients, and then went into 2020, ready to get started again, kind of doing the same things. And then the chip hit, which is the Corona Home Incarceration Program. And once again, I couldn't do the personal exertion that I was used to doing. So the painful lesson that I'm still in process of is I've got to stop doing personal exertion marketing, hire people and resources to do it rather than me. Part of that's been a mindset shift. The mindset shift has worked, and it became, I will do whatever I have to help lead my community out of the COVID crisis, because this is happening for me, not to me. And it's been working. My last 2 clients that I have brought on board, still results of personal exertion, but it's been built around sell me on the idea that I should be your coach. And it's worked. One of them's been, growing business, guys on fire, $2,500 a month, perfect. So I'm coming out of the lesson. I'm still working on building up the leverage, which is finally getting a better website, which I started on and then started over again when we went to the new system. I'm hiring VAs to help me get started with doing better marketing that doesn't include me, and I'm going to continue that process. And I picked up some pretty good tips at this conference to help with it. So it's on the way up, but it's been the same old lesson, but it really got hammered home to me over these last couple of things. And part of it too with the chip was getting in better health to the parts that I can control. Couldn't control some of the health issues over the last couple of years. But if you've noticed, I'm down 40 pounds since March and probably 55 since my last health crisis. So I'm working on what I can control. That's the other piece, putting health to the forefront. That's it.
Hey, let's give Russ a huge hand. I want to say thank you for being vulnerable, because what you just shared, I think we all go through, but we don't talk about it. We all have health crises, personal crises, whatever it is, but that 2x4 kept hitting you in the head, didn't it? And what you recognize, the learning is, I'm doing everything. and I have to create leverage in my marketing. I can't continue this because I see this trend. And so it was a mindset. And I love the next piece you said, it was for me, not to me. So that's a piece of that mindset shift. It's for me, not to me. And I'm focusing on what I can control. So that is a huge learning. And now it's a discipline to stick with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's hard, because that's where you're used to, and so you've got to have that correction. So I love it.
I felt bad for the 2x4 because it just, wasn't working against my hard head. Anyway, it's working now. Thanks, Monty.
Awesome. Thank you, Russ. Give him a hand. All right, last one. One last learning. Hi, Annette.
How you doing? I realize everyone
Excellent.
says that. All right, so my big learning is we chose not to hire 2 key people in the 3rd quarter because of COVID. And a lot like Russ, it's just all mindset is we just need to move forward with what we know is right so that we can grow our business.
So tell us more about that learning and how you came to that decision.
Knowing that we're hiring 2 key people right now, and realizing that we should have hired these 2 people in June when our original plan was to hire them. So we're just really procrastinated on making it happen. So more probably just procrastination.
So the learning is to make decisions faster, or to understand the decision better to make it faster?
To make decisions faster and stick with them. Actually, the learning is stick with the decisions that you planned and don't hold back. I guess that's really.
So I want everybody to, love that you said that. I want everybody to rehear that, and I captured it as make decisions faster, but the big one was stick to the decision that you made. Stick to the decision that you made and adjust your plan to fulfill that decision that you made. Is that correct, Annette?
That's correct. You said it very well.
Because I think that's something we all do. We make a decision and something doesn't go quite our way, so we then don't stick to that decision or stick to a time frame. I'm sure most everybody has heard this phrase, the goal doesn't change, the action does. Well, the decision doesn't change, the fulfillment of that decision can change. Hey, I made this decision, I got to commit to it. So I love that learning. So Annette, give everybody a hand. Thank you, Annette. Give Annette a hand. Thank you. So a couple things about this emotional reflection. The successes and the why, it's about the behavior that I need to keep doing so I can keep generating the successes. The learnings, again, think about here is setting clear goals for your marketing campaigns, taking time to step away, recognize health crises and how am I needing to adjust, and so I can create leverage marketing. It's for me, it's not to me. There's a lot of learnings in that. And the last one, Annette, make decisions faster and then stick with the decision that you planned. So part of that exercise, hopefully that you learn from other folks and their sharing, so you can duplicate some of their successes and duplicate some of their learnings, but hopefully you gain from your notes as well. So I call that the emotional side of reflection. Now I'm going to move to the logical side of reflection. And here's what I want us to do. I'm going to ask you 4 questions of data. And I'm going to give you a few minutes because I want you to look at your calendar. I want you to look on your phone. I want you to guess and estimate as best as you can on these 4 questions. But I want you to look only in the last 30 days in relation to these 4 questions. So the last month, so it's the 25th of October, so we can look at the month of October if you want, or even into the last piece of September. So here are the 4 questions I want you to answer for the last 30 days. The first one is, what % of your month was billable time? And here's what I mean is, what percent of your time over the last month were you with clients, coaching calls, training sessions, whatever it is that you got paid for? What percent of your time did you work that you actually got paid for? So first question is, what percent was your billable time? Second question is, how many hours in the last month did you spend contacting prospects? The third question is number of prospects that you talked to. You actually talked to. And the last question is number of diags that you conducted in the last 30 days. So 4 questions: percent of billable time, hours that you contacted prospects, number of prospects that you actually talked to, and number of diags. I want to give you 3-4 minutes. I want you to look through your calendar. I want you to look through your phone, computer, whatever you need to do. And I want you to answer all 4 questions, please. Give you just a couple more minutes. I give you 30 more seconds. All right, I'm going to ask for 4 more volunteers to share their 4 sets of numbers. So who would like to be my first volunteer? Start making your way to the front of the room or unmute yourself if you're on line. All right, who's our first volunteer?
All right, someone has to face their fears, right?
There you go.
I'm Mike Connor. I'm over in Alpharetta, Georgia. New coach, started in June. So over the last month, I had 3% billable time. Contacted prospects about 60 hours over the last month. Contacted approximately 75 contacts and had 3 diags in October.
Very good. So just make sure I heard you right. 3% billable time, 60 hours contacting prospects, and you talked to 75. Is that correct?
That's about what I'm estimating, yeah.
Okay. And out of that 75 that you talked to, you conducted 3 diags.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. Everybody give Mike a hand. Who's next? From the back of the room.
If no one's gonna go, I'll go
Hey,
again because
Brianne.
I'll probably learn something. So
Thanks, Brianne.
30% of my time was billable. 48 hours on contacting prospects, 15 actual prospects, and 7 diags.
All right, so I kept 30% billable time, 40 hours of contacting prospects, 15 prospects that you talked to, and 7 diags.
Yes.
Excellent. You know, the question I didn't ask, and Mike, I'll ask you to answer too, but Brianne, out of those 7, how many did you convert to clients?
7.
7 out of 7. Wonderful. Congratulations. Give Brianne a hand. And Mike, how many clients did you get to your 3 diags?
So none converted. One said he would, but then he ghosted me.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for your honesty. All right. Who's volunteer number 3? Hey, Ross.
Hey, Monty. How are you?
Very well.
Little different position in coaching, but 25% of my time was billable. Only spent about 2 hours last month in contacting prospects. Spoke to 4, had 3 diags, and closed 2 of them.
25% billable, 2 hours prospecting, 4 people talked to, 3 diags, closed 2.
Right.
Nice work. Thank you, Ross. Congratulations. Give him a hand. All right, one last one. Who's our last volunteer? All right, who's the shortest in the room?
Heather, should we challenge each other?
Heather, you knew I'd be calling on you.
Should be the person next to
Instead of making you go first, I made you go last, and then you're the shortest. So
Oh, you knew it was me, didn't you? No mystery.
I did.
Um,
It was you or David.
right. Next time, let's go for maybe shortest with most facial hair. So month of billable, 12%, hours contacting prospects, 5, and that's me personally, not my team. Number of prospects that I had a conversation with, 3, number of diags conducted, 2.
And conversion out of the 2?
not to one-on-one, but one to growth club.
Very good. 12% billable, 5 hours contacting prospects, 3 conversations with prospects, and 2 diags, 1 converted to growth club.
Yes.
Give Heather a hand. Thank you very much. So here's where I want a couple minutes of conversation, and anybody jump in. As you heard, and I want you to not only compare what you heard, but what you wrote down. What did you hear? What's your story that you're hearing about us as coaches? So what story did you hear about our billable time, our hours of prospecting, our number of prospects that we talked to, and our number of diags? What did you hear? What did you learn?
Tons of time to grow. Yeah.
I didn't quite hear, so maybe if somebody would summarize what a couple people said. I couldn't quite hear.
Yeah, so what I heard, Monty, was not enough prospects. What are we doing with our time? Once we get some clients, it's a pretty good gig. Those sort of things. Not enough billable time. We could bill more, that sort of thing, and not nearly enough prospecting.
Not enough prospecting, not enough leads. Excellent. Thank you, Bill, for sharing that. So a couple points I want to make is I was having a conversation the other day with a gentleman, and he said, we're actually in the marketing business. Think about that. Think of the numbers that we just heard. Our billable time ranged from 3% to 30%. And I know there's others in the room that it is much higher. But the hours of contacting prospects went from 2 hours in a month to 60 hours in a month. And that time of what are we doing with our time is the powerful question. And the number of prospects that we talked to. And think about the time that you spent and how many you talked to. And then how many diags did I set out of those that I talked to, or how many luncheons or coffees or whatever it might be in your process that you actually took forward into something. I think this is a powerful step. And Bill, you said it, not enough prospecting. And the question is, what are we doing with our time? So I want us to get to a final discussion here of productive actions versus activity. It's always, I guarantee every one of us have been busy at times. I want to challenge you, and hopefully this reflection of not only the emotional side, but the logical side, it helps you focus on what are the right productive things that I should be doing. Productive gets us more leads into our pipeline. Productive gets us clients. Productive gets us billable time, whatever it might be. We all can spend time on just activities. And activities are busy work. I got to get my CRM set up. Yep, that's a good activity. That could be a CRM tool. But one of the things, I want to reinforce 2 things that I shared yesterday. One is you do have to balance short-term, mid-term, and long-term marketing. If you need clients, if you have less than 30% billable time, you should have short-term marketing activities to get you clients right now. You need to balance that with midterm activities and long-term activities so you can build the long-term. But until you get some clients, don't focus so much on long-term activities because you need revenue, you need income now. The second point is I want to challenge everybody to that 5, 10, 50 that I mentioned yesterday. I want you to target 50 names. I guess that was Friday. Today's Sunday. So Friday. I want you to target 50 names, 50 companies of businesses that you would love to have as a client. And Starting this week, you're going to reach out to them. Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a LinkedIn introduction, maybe it's a stop by, whatever it might be. And your goal is to take them into that warm category, into a 10. Some of them are going to say, no, thank you. You erase them off the list. Some of them are going to move forward. Some of them you won't get to yet, so they stay in that 50 list. So you get them into warm, you start to know them, or you ask them to the next step, to a diag. But a hot is when they're 2 to 3 weeks away from saying yes. Maybe you have a diag set with them, but they're not hot yet. Just because they have a diag doesn't mean they're hot to work with you. Some hot statements are, I can't wait till we meet. I'm really excited to see how you can help my business. Those are hot statements. And you want to be building a relationship, whether it's before the diag, during the diag, or even after the diag, if they don't convert on the day, to get them to that point. I can't wait till we work together. I can't wait till our meeting. That's a hot statement. If you're not getting hot statements, your conversion rate will be low. So some productive activities. Number one, I want you to have some short-term marketing actions. And it might be just picking up the phone, or it might be some other immediate response activities if you need clients now. The second productive activity is manage your pipeline. So every week, if you've got time set aside for marketing, you're focused on that 50, moving them to 10, or you're focused on the 10, moving them to the 5. You may have zeros in the 5 and 10 right now. So you start at 50 and you build it. Once you get that momentum in that process, you will constantly have people in that 5 and 10 category. So you're getting clients consistently every month. It may take you 4, 5, 6 weeks to build that momentum in that 50 to get to the 10 and 5. But my challenge is, well, I'm going to give you a couple challenges here, and then we can open it up. But number one is do more of this reflection with yourself and your clients, the emotional side, the successes and what made them a success. What did we do? And capture those behaviors so you can duplicate them. Do a logical reflection so you can tell your business story. Our numbers are our business story. So keep track of your billable time, keep track of your hours that you're prospecting, the number of prospects that you actually talk to, and the number of diags that you get in the conversion. That tells your story of where you're at. And make sure that you are, as Bill said, set goals. Maybe you want to set a goal for your percentage of billable time, or your number of prospects that you talk to, or your number of diags that you set. And then you set the actions to achieve that result. So I want you focused on return on time. Your return on time is how productive am I with my time? So with that, here's what I want to do, and then I'm going to have you open up for questions. From this conversation, and again, have a couple people answer, what commitments are you going to make because of our conversation here today? I want everybody to write down at least 1 or 2 things you're going to do because of this conversation. And I hope that it's about managing your pipeline, or I hope that it's about focusing on productivity versus just activity. So I'd love to hear 2 people share what they're committing to because of our last hour together. So who wants to share something you're going to commit to because of our time together? Craig, I'll pick on you. What are you going to commit to because of our time together?
Thank you, Monty. Let me get up here. I wrote down that this is an awesome conversation to have with every one of our new franchise partners, and fantastic KPIs for them to report to us on a regular basis.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Let's get one more. What action are you going to take because of this conversation? Jason.
I'll jump in there, Monty. I want to update my default calendar to block out 6 hours weekly to support the 50, 10, and 5 strategy.
Wonderful. Blocking out time, stick to it, make the decision, and stick to that decision. So you've got 6 hours. Excellent. Lee, what are you going to do?
Hey, Monty. I am going to, now my dog decided to bark, I apologize. I'm going to spend 3 hours this afternoon updating my 50 hot leads. I just hired a BDM on Friday, and time is of the essence. So we're going to spend 3 hours this afternoon, get that pipeline updated.
So update your 50 leads and then manage it. Who's going to fall off? Who falls off each week? Who do you add each week? Who's moving to warm? Who's going to move to hot? And every week, what are your actions you're going to take to make that progression so you can get
Amen,
to
brother.
the yeses?
That's right.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to share? Very good. Well, Craig or Steve, I'll gladly open up for any questions you guys might have. I appreciate the opportunity to join you for a little bit of time. Hopefully you gained another exercise and a way of thinking to help not only your client's business, but your own business. So with that, Craig, I'll gladly answer any comments or questions that you have.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody at your tables, take 3 minutes and brainstorm what questions you want to ask Monty. Okay, go. 3 minutes, brainstorm. Come up with your list. Any questions you guys want? All right, 30 more seconds. All right, land the plane. Okay, everybody, hands up, straight up, point up into the ceiling. Everybody get your arm up. Straight up into the ceiling, point. Point at the ceiling. Everybody point at the ceiling. Okay. On 3, pick the spokesperson at your table. 1, 2, 3, go. All right. So spokespeople, get up and ask the question. Go for it, Brian. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Monty, it's Brian Johnson in Charlotte.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
Nice to meet you. So question we had at our table is, we obviously set our path forward and we want to stick to it. But when a year like COVID comes up, how do you stay flexible within what you set to not totally get derailed?
So I want to come back to something Linda shared earlier. She got clear on who she wanted to help. So the goal doesn't change, but the actions do. So you might have to change an audience. I guarantee in every one of our markets, there are businesses that are succeeding right now or have cash flow or have growth opportunities or are challenged by growth. So sometimes we have to change our activity to get to the results. So again, could be that you change your target audience. So I think that's a powerful thing, is being clear and adapting and understanding your marketplace. There's markets where construction is just through the roof, and how are you helping those contractors grow their business right now? There are others that it's a different industry. So focus on the industries that can benefit most right now, that have money. The critical connect there is that they have money. So very good. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey, Monty, can you just clarify a little bit on the moving them from warm to hot? Just what's the step there? We may only have a coach on deck call in the middle there.
Can you guys
some
hear the
other ideas
question
on
in the
how to do that. So,
how to move them from warm to hot.
any strategies?
So when I think of, yep, my belief is that the 13-step sales process is all about building relationship, building trust and rapport. And if you are doing the right steps, you're having conversations, you're interacting, you know, from your first call to getting to know their business, to getting the questionnaire back, to the coach on deck call, to, you know, having an extra touch in there, whatever it might be, you are building emotional connections. And oftentimes we set diags too early. So we don't give ourselves enough time to build that emotional connection with the prospect. So set your diags 7 to 10 days out so you have time to get them your wow packet, get them the questionnaire back, have a call or two, or send them information. Call the day before to confirm and make sure that you're having a little conversation there. So you're building touches to deepen it. They become hot when they become hot, not when we are hot after them. That's the critical difference, because we almost, well, I'm really hot after them. I've got 5 hots. No, you're hot after them. They're not hot after you. They're hot after you when they make statements like, I can't wait till we get together. I'm so excited for our meeting tomorrow. I'm excited for you to help me with my business. That is a hot statement. So you want to use the 13 steps to build trust and rapport. Make sure you're asking the questions. It's not just, hey, can I do a complimentary coaching session? And then you don't go any deeper. No, you want to get deeper. You're there to help them, give them value, give them a reason to want to meet with you. That's the emotional connection that you have to build so they can say, I can't wait till we get together.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Monty. Gerald Hutchinson from North Carolina, Greensboro specifically.
Hi, Gerald.
Working with Steve Brock.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. All right. So with the commitments that you just talked about, you know, when you were talking earlier about the reflection to create action, you really emphasize the emotion that was kind of behind the, you know, the action before. But in the commitment part just now, I didn't hear an emphasis on that. And I wonder what your thinking is about that. This is not tactics. This is really more about the principle behind the process. So if you'd elaborate on that, I'd appreciate it.
So on the commitment, you know, some of you may have written down that you need to get more emotionally connected to your decisions, emotionally connected to evaluating, reflecting on yourself. The examples that came back of people taking were more logical actions. I'm going to manage my schedule. I'm going to do this. You know, it is still a balance of the be and the do. So I think that's a critical statement. And sometimes we have to raise our do to get the results, or we have to raise our B, as a couple of them said. But we've got to make sure that you are choosing the right commitments and balancing that, the be and the do. And I'll go back to what Linda said again. You know, Linda said she was clear on her IMs. She was clear on who she was choosing to become. At the same time, she chose who her target audience is, and she got very clear on her activities to get in front of it. So it is a balance of the emotion and the logic. So to get our clients and prospects to make that decision that they want to hire us, you got to both emotion and logic. But for us to be successful and get the results we want, you have to do both emotion and logic as well. So I think it's some of the responses of commitments, we may have only had one or two or one-sided of the logical side, but you do need both.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Hold your applause.
So Monty is a designated table spokesman. First thing that came up was just a good commentary about the way you did the stats just now. But then the second thing was, I wonder what Monty's doing for marketing for his business. That evolved into, yeah, but Monty's in a different place than we are, which is silver and just barely gold. So what do you think, based on what you know and what you've coached people around, what should coaches in that silver, just barely gold range be doing for marketing, either that you do or that's different from what you do?
So I'm going to say my first 8 or 9 years as a coach, I hired a telemarketer. And I bet I went through 5 or 6 different companies. So Russ, I was just like you. I was doing a lot of it myself, but I needed someone to leverage. So I had a full-time telemarketer. It was an outsourced position. So if you don't have a telemarketer today, get a telemarketer and a third party. It doesn't have to be an employee. Get a third party to do a lot of telemarketing for you. I look back again at my stats. I gained a ton of clients from telemarketing early on, because that was leverage of my time to talk to more people. Just like we said, hours of contact and number of people we talk to, their numbers are going to be so much better than ours. And so get a telemarketer for number one. The second thing is I did a lot of events and speaking engagements. So that's what helped with my momentum as well, was get into a routine, do a, well, I did Profit Club for, let's see, 13 out of the 16 years or 14 out of the 16 years. And when I did Profit Club, I did a monthly educational workshop. So I marketed those as well. So I always had an event every single month that I was marketing for. And so the community knew me because I was marketing to my chamber. I was marketing to my connections and everybody that I was talking to. You have to have events so people get to know you. And that's what builds the long-term branding of you. But you've got to have events that you can bring people to. Give out free tickets, get people to send. Doesn't matter if they buy a ticket or not. Get them in the door, get them to see some value. So today, I do a lot through LinkedIn. I'm very targeted on CEOs. I'm very targeted on that audience, but I do a lot of speaking engagements still, none that I am coordinating. I am hired to speak at an association, or I'm hired to speak at some event. But those are the things that I would suggest, is do events so you can give free tickets to, get a telemarketer on board to get people talking, and just keep something moving all the time. So a lot of referrals now is where my business comes from after 16 years.
And you mentioned LinkedIn, so that's also something. Okay.
You know, LinkedIn, it's about a relationship first. If you try to sell in your first connection, they're not going to respond. So it is, hey, I was looking through LinkedIn. I like to expand my network. I see we're both part of the Des Moines area. Whatever it is, you know, you choose your message, and then you reach out. Hey, I like to actually get to know people that I connect with on LinkedIn. Would you be up for a phone call to get to know each other? Or would you be up for a cup of coffee? You know, that's how you build a relationship. So when you target that 50, which ones am I going to target on LinkedIn so I can start a relationship? But don't start selling right away, because they're not going to respond. That's none of us connect with those folks.
And I want to dive in for a second on the telemarketer. There was a discussion on the Facebook chat thing that Brad get in on when someone asked about telemarketing and hiring telemarketers, and he said, you really can't hire good telemarketers. You need to train your own, or train a telemarketer. And several of the coaches that then responded said, yeah, I had to do the same thing. What's your experience with hiring telemarketers, or did you train your own, or did you have to train the telemarketers that you hired?
So I always used a third party, a telemarketing company. But what I did is I had made sure that I have a strong conversation up front before any calls were made. So we talked about what they're going to say, how they say it, what the process flow is. So I trained them, but they weren't my employees. And then I would have a conversation every week to check on progress. How are the calls going? What are your numbers? What kind of response are you getting? Let's change the script. Because when I think of telemarketing, number one, it is about the database? Are we talking to the right people? But then it gets back to some of our reflection today. How much time did you call, and how many people did you actually talk to, and what happened? And so I managed the telemarketer well, and I trained them during that management, but I didn't want to have to go out and recruit them. I want somebody else to recruit them. You say you're a telemarketing company, great. I want a telemarketer or two, but I'm going to help manage the process so I can train them on the process that I want to follow and the questions they should be asking and how you build a relationship. Because if you throw it over to a telemarketer, you will not get results. I guarantee there's people in the room that have hired telemarketers and will say, I'm never doing it again because it didn't work. You have to manage the telemarketer.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Hi, Monty.
Hello.
I'm Ashley Tapp. I'm a brand new coach, actually going into training in a couple weeks in November. So this has been really
Very good.
great.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. My question was on, so the numbers that we listed out with the billable percents and time spent and speaking to everyone, are there action coach metrics pulled together that we can follow as new coaches?
So Action Coach asks you to report really the 5 ways. And so I go a little bit deeper. Some of these numbers that I'm asking you aren't what Action Coach recommends. You know, and Craig even said, hey, we're going to add these new KPIs to new coaches, things like that. So I look at what are the activity-based KPIs. So an activity-based KPIs, how many hours am I contacting people? And how many do I actually talk to? That's an activity-based. Now, percent billable time, that's a result of how many clients that I have, but it's almost a 2x4 result, because we all think we're in the coaching business. We're in the marketing business because we spend from 90% of our time to 60% of our time marketing. Yes, we make money when we coach, but if we don't have our marketing done well, we can't get clients. So that's why I take it to activity based.
Okay. But there's no formula for if you are spending this much time prospecting, you should be converting you should be converting to this percentage if you want to be a gold or, kind of going up that ladder.
So great comment. And I think if we were to ask everyone in the room, everybody's stats would be different. And just even the 4 people that shared, their numbers were different. So it's always about your numbers and what are you working on improving, because I don't believe there is a black and white number. If you talk to 10 people, you're going to get 4. Well, it depends on what you're going to say. It depends on what you ask for the next step. It depends on how you built trust and rapport with them. So you need to focus on your numbers, and you can use Action Coach numbers as a starting point, but you have to start to track yours, because just as we said here is hours of contacting people. One person had 2 hours of contacting and talked to 4 people. One person had 60 hours and talked to 75. So a totally different mix. Another one talked 40 hours to people and talked to 15. So totally different responses. So I would encourage you to measure your numbers and then identify what can I improve on. But going back to Bill's, set a goal for each number. Hey, I'm going to talk to X number of people. Let's see how long it takes and how many I get to Diags. And then you ask, what can I improve on that number?
Okay. Yep, that's great advice. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Monty.
Hey, Mike.
How are you, sir?
Good.
So we, in the Omaha market, we have 2 BDMs, both of them with a prior sales background. And the question is it worthwhile at this point to go back and teach them the 13-step method, or just allow them to use what they have? KPI for them is we have 2 events every month, 6 steps in 5 ways. And their KPI is to get butts in the seats.
So I'm going to ask the group the question. What do we teach? The question was, should we follow the 13 steps or not follow the 13 steps? That's what I heard the question. So what will the room answer as?
Follow
The system. Okay. Thanks, Monty. Have a good day.
Great answer.
All right, Kenny.
Jim, did you get that?
We got it.
Just making sure.
Anyone else? Well, Monty, my good man, next year we're going to have to try to figure out how to get the Bacon Festival to Hilton Head. If there's a way that we can pull that off, that would be fantastic. But otherwise, on behalf of Hilton Head 2020, thanks for your time, inspiration, and knowledge, my friend. We'll see you soon, and hope you enjoy the shoveling of snow today. We're going to run down to the beach and grab a beer. So, see you later, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.